free and fun folds. Who doesn't love both? Hi, Linda Anderson, and I'm going to show you both on these two cards, free and fun folds. So let's get started. First up, let me go with this. They're actually essentially the same card, just one is portrait, one is landscape. Thought I would just share how to do either one, whatever works for you, and any of the pattern papers that you may have, and stamps as well. I talked free. Free is Sale-a-bration. Sale-a-bration is coming up, and that means that with qualifying orders of either $50 or even $100, you could get some items free. And what I'm sharing with you first on my cards today are the stamp set, corner bouquet, and the beautiful paper here. It's called Paper Blooms. And let me just share with you, it is double-sided, so I'm just going to show you each piece here. So here's the double-sided. So love it. I just love it. Great colors, and this is something you could get for free. I'm not kidding. Free with a $50 order. So this is definitely something that I know I'm going to stock up on, and I think you should too. So let's get going now on the fun fold part of the cards. So here we go. Let me show it to you, and how cool is that? Yeah, so let's get started here. So I have first up, I am using Seaside Spray is my card base. Now it's a little bit different as far as how to cut it. It's going to be 4 1/4 across, 7 1/2 inches long. This score line here is at 5 1/2. All right, so let's go ahead and fold that. You'll see I already have my white on the inside. This is Whisper White, that's 4 by 5 1/4. Now the sentiments that I'm using come from this stamp set, Itty Bitty Birthdays. These itty bitty stamp sets, there's birthdays, greetings, Christmas. They are, I'm sorry, a must-have. They are just fantastic. So back to the card, we're going to fold along that 5 1/2 inch score line. Now let me back up a little bit. When it comes to doing the inside of your card, inserting this piece of white, make sure your sentiment is up high enough to be covered either by the fold of this top portion or whenever you get your focal image down. So just kind of pay attention to where your sentiment is and make sure it's going to be hidden whenever the card is closed. All right, Seaside Spray again. I have a piece here, and this measures 4 1/4 by 2 inches. And this is what's going to be the bottom portion of our card. I also have then pieces of that Paper Blooms DSP 4 by 1 3/4. All right, let me just go ahead, and obviously I do have 2 pieces here because they're going to go top and bottom. All right, so let me go ahead. Let's get started on getting this adhered down. So I like to use my liquid glue, gives me that little bit of wiggle room time. And let's get it first on this top piece. Now, don't feel like you have to write down the measurements of everything that I'm telling you. There is going to be a free tutorial. It's all for the taking, and it is with all the measurements, supplies that I use to make these 2 cards. Feel free to pick it up. It will be down in the description of this video. So let me finish here real quick, and there we go. So we have that. Now for the focal image, like I said, I used that corner bouquet stamp set that's also free with the Sale-a-bration with a $50 order. I stamped it in Night of Navy ink. This piece of white measures, let me see, 3 3/4 by 2 1/2. And then I have a piece again of the Seaside Spray. It's a 1/4 inch bigger, so that means it's 4 by 2 3/4. So went ahead and did my stamping here. Let's go ahead and get this adhered down. All right. And here we go. Whoops. Now, the second trickiest part to this card is getting to make sure that you only put adhesive on your focal image so that it hits either the top or the bottom, these little strips. That way you're not adhering your card closed. So here's where my focal image is going to go. So I just want to make sure that I put a little bit of glue on the top portion and a little bit on the bottom portion. The one on the bottom portion is what's going to pick up this little strip that's down here. I just essentially have it lined up flush with the bottom of the card. And here we go. Let's go ahead, get a little bit of adhesive on both ends, and let's get this adhered down. So I like to just sort of eyeball it, measure it, and down it goes. Let me just hold that for just a little bit. And look, it pops open. So I know that I done good. I didn't get any of my adhesive onto the back of my card, or the bottom, to adhere it shut. So, all right. Itty bitty birthdays again. I just, you can use a die, you can use a punch to get this out. I stamped it onto some Whisper White, just a scrap piece there. I am backing it with some more of the Seaside Spray. Let's pop that right down here onto the front. And then I just added a rhinestone just to fancy it up. And there's card number 1. So this one is in the portrait mode. I also wanted to make sure you saw and had measurements if you wanted to do it in the landscape mode. So that's where this one came into being. Okay, so let me get all the supplies that I need to show you for that one. Again, pick up your free tutorial then also, and you'll have all those measurements that you need. The white for the focal image is still the same, 3 3/4, 2.5. The Seaside Spray for underneath is 1/4 inch bigger, so that makes it 4 by 2 3/4. So let's just go ahead and adhere that together. Everything is pretty much the same as far as how you're going to put it together. It's just the measurements are different. So if you were already followed along and thought, that wasn't too bad, that was fairly easy with the first one, you're golden then. So my card base, this one is 5 3/4 by 5.5. Now the score line here is at 4 1/4. All right, so here's where I'm going to fold it along that score line, and the scoring, make sure you're doing it along, this is the 5.5 side. This is what's going to go in top of your scoring tool, and then you'll score down at 4 1/4. Okay, again, the Whisper White on the inside for the sentiment there, and once again, make sure you have that sentiment stamped up there high enough so that it is covered. All right, so here we go. For this piece that is going to go on the bottom, Seaside Spray, this one is 4 excuse me, no, it's not. It's 5.5 by 1.5. All right, and then I have my 2 pieces of the Paper Blooms Designer Series paper, and it is 5 1/4 by 1 1/4. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to adhere it down to that strip as well as to this top flap. So here we go. This one I call a fancy fun fold, just because of the way having that opening in there. I just feel like it looks fancy. So all right, so let's go ahead and get this piece adhered down, and then same idea as with the first card. I'm going to set this one down, just kind of get it lined up. Let me see which way I want to put this. And just have it flush to the bottom of the card. And once again, I'm just going to adhere the focal image. So here we go. Let's be careful with where that adhesive goes. I'm just going to put it here and here. Okay. Eyeball it as I set it down. Make sure I'm nice and even. Well, as best as my eyeball can tell, huh? And there we go. All right. Excellent. Now, to do the sentiment for this one, again from that itty bitty birthday, I stamped the happy birthday. This is actually on Seaside Spray. Night of Navy ink. And this is 1/2 inch wide because I knew I wanted to use the banner Pick-a-Punch. And that one is right here. I love this punch. I am so not good at all with just freehand cutting those banners. So I rely on using a punch. And this one is perfect. 1/2 inch is one of the measurements that allow you to just slip this right on in and punch out your banner. So let me just go ahead, adhere this down with some dimensionals. Added a couple little rhinestones right there, and this card now is complete. So there we go. We have the horizontal or the landscape version, and then here it is in the portrait. Free stamp set, free paper, fancy fun fold too. You know what else is free, like I said, is the tutorial on how to do this and to get all the measurements that you need. Look down in the description, you'll find it right there. Thanks as always for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Consider subscribing to my YouTube channel as well. And I do have a blog, lindaloucreates.com. And from there you can sign up if you would like for my newsletter. So thanks again for joining me, guys, and I hope you get a chance to create today. Bye now.